Right now, you still have Bill Nelson, the incumbent Democrat, is running, but there's a pack of Republicans ready to nip at his heels here with Senate President Mike Herodopoulos is in and has raised more than $1 million already for the campaign. Former Senator George Lemieux, who was former Governor Charlie Crist's appointee to that seat a year or so ago, he has jumped in just recently. And former legislator and now Congressman Connie Mack from Southwest Florida took himself out of the race. There's still the possibility of a former State House Majority Leader, Adam Hasner, jumping in the race too. So there's going to be some Republicans challenging Bill Nelson, and they're all young, and Bill Nelson is in his mid-60s. It's going to be one of those kind of generational kind of contests as well as partisan contests.
That's not that old.
No, especially by U.S. Senate standards. So Nelson is going to be in for a real race next year, it looks like.
Steve, who would you say at this point is the leading candidate to get the Republican nomination?
I'm going to go with Mike Herodopoulos because he's a Senate president. He's in the catbird seat. He can use that position to leverage a lot of campaign contributions. Adam Hasner can raise a lot of money from his own network, and he's from South Florida, which is a good place to be from, but so is George Lemieux. Lemieux is the one that puzzles me a little bit. I mean, we all knew he was going to run, but he's joined at the hip with Charlie Crist, who was very unpopular as he left office. So almost by default, I'm going to go with Herodopoulos at the moment.
David, how do you read it?
Well, I said on this show that I thought Connie Mack was going to win that seat, so I'm at a loss now. I mean,
thanks for the reminder, though. We'll use that one.
The candidate that I thought had the best shot is gone. I agree with Steve. Herodopoulos is in a good place, it looks like.
Well, Brent, a lot of Republicans seem to think that Bill Nelson is very vulnerable. Is he that vulnerable?
Well, you know, the dynamics of politics over the last half dozen years, everything, the winds have changed so quickly on things. I mean, you go from 06 to 08 to 10 and just the things that have happened. And I think we're already looking at the possibility of, I think a lot of it depends on what President Obama does and how the economy sits. Senator Nelson, I think, is by most accounts, I think, has done good work, very strong work, you know, on behalf of his constituents. Florida hasn't had a senator that's, you know, he'd be third term, he'd advance in seniority. Certainly, if President Obama wins re-election, that'd be beneficial to the state. But I think it'll depend a great deal on the president's fortunes in Florida in 2012. He is the incumbent. It depends, too. I think it remains to be seen perhaps how much. This is a race I think Democrats are going to have to put a lot of money into because I think the opposition will.